We're here with Tampa Bay Brewing Company today, and you can introduce yourselves.
I'm John, head brewer, Westchase.
I'm Jason, pilot brewer, Westchase.
So we're going to talk about beer today and Tampa Bay Brewing Company as a business. Tell me a little bit of background first about Tampa Bay Brewing Company.
So I've been around 5-6 years now, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The company's been around since 1997. Started at the original 15th Street in Ybor.
Mm-hmm.
Really focused on beer. Brought in a little bit of food. Moved 2006 to our current location in Ybor, in Central Ybor, and food just grew. Beer kept growing. Finally, 2011 started distributing outside of the walls. Started canning beer.
Mm-hmm.
Sales were really well. That's where I started over in Ybor.
Mm-hmm.
Really busy, just could not make enough beer, even just for the Tampa area. And then we opened up shop here in 2014, late 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and just been crazy ever since. So still have the Ybor location and the Westchase location.
And what about you guys specifically as brewers?
I've been brewing professionally about 9-10 years now. And like I said, just over half my career has been here.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a fun ride. So I just eat, sleep, drink beer a lot of times. Even now, my wife knows when we travel, we're visiting breweries, eating good food.
What about you?
Yeah, I've been in the craft beer industry for almost 10 years now. Been here for a little over 2 years now. Been in charge of the pilot system for about the past year, running that and doing some new recipe developing. And also I lead on all the treatments as well. In other words, taking maybe our reef donkey or lager and adding some fruits or spices or something to repurpose the beer in a different direction.
Jason started his career over at Cigar City, so which everyone knows. Awesome brewery, awesome people.
Of course.
And we have a couple of people from Cigar City on our team now too, so it's cool. So collaborative industry.
Yeah, and what advice do you have to people who maybe want to get into beer but don't know a lot about it as far as brewing is concerned, or being involved in the beer industry more?
My opinion obviously is just seek out good beers, find out what you like, learn what a quality beer means. Obviously, home brewing is a great way to start. It's how I started. I don't know, Jason, did you do a lot of home brewing to begin with?
I did a little bit of home brewing, but jumping into Cigar City and then with the growth there, that home brewing quickly became almost impossible to do. So it's just too busy, not enough time to
I kind of got my foot in the door by volunteering. I was honestly the right place, right time. Just working, jobs like everyone does, and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I just knew I really like talking about beer, like drinking beer, like hanging out and do things. So just volunteered at a local brewery up in South Carolina and got offered a job and learned on the job. And then a few years later, moved down here, got a job with Dave, and just been that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get in the industry, hang out. There's obviously chances to volunteers, whether it's packaging line, just kind of be with the people, find a brewery you respect and like, and hang out and get to know them, and just let them know what you're looking for. And I think that's a good way to get started.
And in you guys' opinion, like, what is a quality beer? Because obviously that's going to depend on who it is. But for people who don't know, who may not understand, what's the difference between quality beer? Is there a certain way it should taste? Or obviously there's rules to all of this, right? Or at least ways that it should be, right?
Correct. Yeah. Answer for that.
What's your opinion?
There's lots of styles out there, so it's there's a lot of different flavor profiles to each one. Sours, for instance. If you're not familiar with a sour, some people could think that there's something wrong with the beer when it's intentionally sour. We intentionally pitched a bacteria into there to lower the pH and get it to that tart level. And it's perfectly fine, healthy. It's not going to make you sick or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
Aside from that, I would just say being producing good quality beer and at repetition too, not being able to reduplicate that and not just having a one-time beer that we all enjoy, and then the next one is not exactly the same product. So that could be a tricky thing as well, and demonstrate what a good brewery can be is if you're constantly reproducing the same quality night in, night out.
Right, consistency's a big thing, and it's hard to do. Everyone's tastes are different. Obviously, I might like a beer that someone else doesn't, or vice versa. I think just in terms of quality, you just got to learn for that yourself. it's just tasting different. Obviously, there's a lot of science involved, and I know a lot of the science behind it, and I can taste that there's certain off flavors in beer, just like anything else with, food industry. I mean, you can kind of compare beer in a way like, it's like McDonald's. They make a very consistent product, and everybody eats it, but do you consider it quality? No, and then you go to a fine dining restaurant. So there's always that fine line between just like a huge mass-produced, really cheap product, but you might like it for certain occasions because we all go to McDonald's sometimes.
It's
but
familiar.
It's familiar, and you know what you're going to get, and it's cheap. So there's that cheap quality product. And I mean, cheap doesn't necessarily mean it's not quality, but it just might not be in the same class as a fine dining place. So you just gotta kind of figure out what you like. And I always tell people, if you don't think you like it, give it a try. You might not like it, but maybe a few months down the road, if you try different styles, you may eventually. So it's always just try new things, try things over and over until you're just like, I definitely just don't like this style.
There's such a large variety of styles. It's hard to maybe tell somebody what a good beer is because maybe they don't like a drier finishing beers, or a bitter
their preference.
Fruity.
Yeah, you gotta learn for yourself. But there are definitely some off flavor stuff, and as long as you drink fresh, drink local, I think that's always a good thing. Drinking from the source is a big thing too. So going to your local brewery. So.
And as far as food and beer, the ways that they interact,
I love food. I love beer.
About that?
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, I love
That's
food.
what I do. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, food and beer, obviously, one of the cool things about beer and food and the similarities is I think it brings people together. Families get down and eat dinner together, or friends, we gather at a restaurant, eat some food, and try this and try that. And same thing with beer. I mean, beer kind of, sure, there's plenty of people that drink at home alone, but at the same time, usually you're with some friends or hanging out and you go out to the bar. Beer and food just go hand in hand. And, I know a lot of people talk about how wine, there's so many flavor profiles in wine, and they consider wine and food, but beer actually has way more flavor profiles than wine does even.
That's
and
true.
A lot of people don't understand that. So picking the right beer for the right dish is really big. And again, there are certain, obviously, directions you can get led down, like seafood will go really good with certain styles, and steak and burgers will go really good with another style, but it just depends on what you like. But it's kind of fun to pair things up and just learn, and
and you guys do that here, right?
We do. Yeah. We also cook with beer. Beer's a lot of our dishes are infused with beer, which is fun. I have nothing to do with the food side, neither does Jason.
That's okay.
But it's really good food. It's one of those things, like, we're obviously very focused on beer, but the restaurant is very focused on the food, and they do a really good job at it. Because I don't feel there's a lot of good places. You either have a good beer menu and crappy food, or you have crappy food and good beer. So I feel like we do a little bit of both, which is fun. So
I feel like that should be more of a harmony.
It should be, but
it's
usually
the food might be a little too good here for me.
Yeah, actually, I agree.
Yeah. The beer does the same thing to me though too. So gotta balance it out.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot of time, but thank you guys so much
cheers.
for talking to me today. And this is Tampa Bay Brewing Company, and there we are. And this is their beer. And thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.